Well, my friends, do you feel like the government's gone insane? Don't worry, you're not alone, and unfortunately, there's no prescription to cure it. No, this is simply what we have to deal with on a daily basis. Just watch what's happening on the big, beautiful bill, and you'll notice quickly that the inmates are running the asylum. Not even the headline story, though. How about one of the biggest medical frauds in U.S. history? Now being declared by the Department of Justice, the biggest case they've handled, not thousands, not millions. No, let's go into the billions on top of billions of dollars. But wait, there's more. Trump gets attacked again. But this time, he has to fight off his own attacker. Again. And that's the full story I'll bring you in 1 minute. Look, folks, I'm no different than you. Probably why these broadcasts resonate with you. I work hard. I want to get home to my family. I want to go have a good time with my friends. Repeat. It's not that difficult. But as another element of my life, one that's more unique than most, we get to cover the craziness that's happening in government. And what's the one time where you kind of feel really good about what you do is when you're ahead of the curve, just like this story. National healthcare fraud takedown results in 324 defendants charged in connection with over $14.6 billion in alleged fraud. I'll play the announcement. What happened here? Well, they've seized cars, money, cryptocurrency as part of the whole of government approach. You can read it with me. To combating healthcare fraud announced today. This is from the Department of Justice. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services also announced that it successfully prevented over $4 billion from being paid in response to false and fraudulent claims, and that it suspended or revoked the billing privileges of 205 providers in the months leading up to the takedown. Now, why? Well, do I relish in this just a slight bit? Because people were frauded? Of course not. Because we saw it coming. As we've always seen it coming. And many of you saw it coming because many of you have experienced this system. Now let's listen to the Department of Justice for just 1 minute.
My name is Matthew Gagliotti, and I'm the head of the Justice Department's Criminal Division. Thank you all for joining us today as we announce the largest coordinated healthcare fraud takedown in the history of the Department of Justice. Today marks a decisive moment in our fight to protect American taxpayers from fraudsters and to defend the integrity of America's healthcare system. We are announcing today charges against 324 defendants for their alleged participation in healthcare fraud schemes involving approximately $14.6 billion in false claims submitted to Medicare, Medicaid, and other healthcare programs.
So a whole of government approach with certain exceptions, aka why continue to push for term limits, aka why Doge was so important, aka why everybody's screaming about the big beautiful bill, how much it will increase our spending, but yet they never had a problem with any of this now, did they? It's okay. As long as it ends up in the right people's hands, I guess. Well, thankfully, the Department of Justice caught up on it. What do? We're a little channel, right? We just sit here every day, put ourselves at risk to make sure that you're informed. And we take the repercussions of happening to not be mainstream media and happening to report to you black and white news and letting you decide. Thankfully, and I know I've edited this more than I normally like to, and the reason being is because I start cursing. Because it upsets me when people fraud Americans, and it happens time and time again. You remember me announcing to you Chapter, right? How many of my subscribers have saved thousands? The average person who calls Chapter saves $1,100 a year. Boy, it all starts to make sense now, doesn't it? Oh, good old Justice wasn't just out there finding someone to help him with his videos. Now, was he? No. I do something that means something to you. It's why I have so very few sponsors. 2, to be particular. And on top of it all, I found it at 100% free for you. Making one phone call, and now doesn't it all start to make sense, huh? Medicare's a disaster, obviously. Bureaucracy, red tape, waste, fraud, abuse, as we've now seen. But the good news is, with one single free phone call to 805-619-5011, 805-619-5011, you can call the folks at Chapter, licensed Medicare professionals, who can go through and weed through all the plans. And you may have the best provider. Maybe you do. But what if you don't? And what if they help you find a better alternative with one simple free phone call? Average person who calls Chapter saves $1,100 a year, and now doesn't it all start to make sense? And the stories just highlight the facts that I continue to bring you, because you know what? All the government does is take, and take. It's time for you to take something back. 805-619-5011. Call Chapter right now. So I guess I'm on a bit of a tear today, and there's good reason for that. There's things behind the scenes that you guys don't see, things that are working against us day in and day out. It becomes sometimes exhausting, but we're never going to stop. We'll continue to tread forward, because all I do is provide you information, resources. You can go to justusknight.com, restrictedrepublic.com, find all our references. There is nothing we do here that isn't transparent. Love us or hate us. You know what? It's just news. It's just facts. So yeah, we got to use big titles sometimes, because I don't get the benefit of what the mainstream media gets on any platform. Everyone seeing their video and everyone being alerted. Well, I wish I had that benefit. I thought I was doing a fair and balanced job. Opinionated? No, because I present a normal voice to people to understand. Man, you guys sit down with me one day. We'll have a good talk. A good talk. And so many people do. I love when they do. But nonetheless, the attack on President Trump by none other than Elon Musk again. Oh, this was just drama between the two. Well, now you're starting to see why I didn't subscribe to that opinion at all. Elon Musk has gone psychotic at this point. Did a great job at Doge, but he's off the rails, just stone cold crazy. Keep the EV solar incentive cuts in the bill. He's all upset about the big beautiful bill, even though no oil or gas subsidies are touched. Very unfair. Oh, so this came down to him protecting the interest of Tesla, his moneymaker. That would make sense, right? But ditch the mountain of disgusting pork in the bill. In the entire history of civilization, there's never been legislation that's both big and beautiful. Everyone knows this. Either you get a big and ugly bill or a slim and beautiful bill. Slim and beautiful is the way. Now, in that conversation point, I don't disagree. These bills are all overblown. There are too many pages. This one, 900 plus? We don't need that anymore. That's bureaucracy at work. It's both sides of the aisle trying to shove in as much as they can, and who pays for it? You and I pay for it. Now, is there methods and mechanisms to what Trump's doing? There is, and they're arguable. They may work, they may not work. Right now, what I'm concerned about for you and for me is this huge tax increase that could come through as this thing doesn't pass. Upwards of 60%, and that's no joke. That's reality. It's obvious with the insane spending of this bill, which increases the debt ceiling by a record $5 trillion. They all increased the debt ceiling. They continue to increase the debt ceiling. Why? Because nobody wants to fund our debt anymore. So we fund our own debt. Isn't that just disgusting in itself? That we live in a one-party country, the Porky Pig Party. Elon Musk, take the phone away. Just put it down. Put it down. You got some great stuff in your life, man. You got some great stuff going on. I am all for your space program. Nobody has done as good of a job as you. No one. And do I want Blue Origin coming in and trying to replace you? How many successful launches did they had? But that's a story for another day. Time for a new political party that actually cares about the people. Every member of Congress who campaigned on reducing government spending and then immediately voted for the biggest debt increase in history should hang their head in shame. And they will lose their primary next year if it is the last thing I do on this earth. So now Elon Musk is going to fund anybody who disagrees with him. No, he's going to fund against anybody who disagrees with him. I guess he who has the money has the power, huh? And he's just proving it out in his own argument. Things he argues against, he's going to, well, nonetheless, I think you get the point here. If this insane spending bill passes, the American Party will be formed next day. And there's his threat, a new political party. Our country needs an alternative to the Democrat-Republican uniparty so that the people actually have a voice. Now, I don't disagree with that either. I think the Democrats and Republicans without term limits will never change. They'll continue to do the same thing. They've proven this time and time again. So it appears the craziness of Elon Musk may have a valid point. Or they simply put in term limits, but somebody somewhere never wants that to happen. And without it, nothing changes. And then we can get into special interest groups, and then we can get into lobbyists, which should have never been allowed in Washington, D.C., period. But again, I guess I would run a more simple government now, wouldn't I? It's not as complex as they want you to believe. It really, truly isn't. The complexity is by design. The complexity is to confuse you, to make you think, and it works successfully on so many people, that nothing will ever change. That's why they built in the complexity. So you would say nothing will ever change. But it can. But this attack first. They just pretended to be two parties. It's just one uniparty in reality because the debt has never gone down. It just continues to escalate now, doesn't it? Elon Musk isn't wrong in this point, and that is a dangerous trend, one that needs to be reversed. Do you like living in debt? Does somebody else then own you if you live in debt? In some ways they do, right? They shape your life, your spending, everything you do, what you can, what you can't, what you can finance, what you can't finance. It only makes logical sense. So his argument in this case is solid. But Trump's also trying to reverse, allegedly, innocent until proven guilty. We don't know until it happens what the actual effects will be. Reverse the stride, of course. Ron Paul comes out. As was easily predictable, all the carrots they hung on the big beautiful bill to get House Republicans to vote on it have been stripped from the Senate version, and they have. And that's really unfortunate. So what brought Republicans on board has been taken out, and what are you left with? Does the average American know what's left in the spending bill? I'll go through it for you if you'd like. It's not the version we had, and there's evidence all over the place, which ends with one word being screened by Elon Musk. Pretty obvious, huh? Liar. Voted to increase America's debt by $5 trillion. Anyone who campaigned on the promise of reducing spending but continues to vote on the biggest debt ceiling increase in history will see their face on this poster in the primary next year. Challenge has been dropped. Attack has happened. Does anybody come back at him? Only one man has to fight off his own attacker, and that one man is none other than President Trump. Elon Musk knew long before he so strongly endorsed me for president that I was strongly against the EV mandate. It is ridiculous and was always a major part of my campaign. Electric cars are fine, but not everyone should be forced to own one. I don't want one. I have no interest in one. Well, Elon may get more subsidy than any human being in history. And if Elon Musk is simply fighting for his subsidy, then is he fighting for the very same thing he's declaring that Trump is guilty of? In many ways he is. Why should he get the money? Why should any money be spent on him? If you're complaining about increasing the debt because you can get your mandate? But that's how Trump eloquently fights back against his attacker. He's the only one who can defend him. By far, and without subsidies, Elon would probably have to close up shop and head back to South Africa. No more rocket launches, satellites, or electric car production because Tesla is funding all that. And our country would save a fortune. Perhaps we should have Doge take a good hard look at this. Big money to be saved. Trump once again fights off his own attacker, using the very argument that Elon Musk is providing and the Doge department that Elon Musk helped to kick off against Elon Musk. Always a step ahead, isn't he? But that doesn't dismiss the fact that our debt ceiling will raise. Trump states it's only temporary. That is yet to be proven, and I will be watching this before we trickle into other stories, as I'm going to continue this podcast, because there's elements in the next stories I'm going to cover that would be tripwires on any other platform for whatever reason, because they're logically not tripwires, they're simple facts. But because of what the factual basis is, some deem them as, well, a different sort of content. But it's all public knowledge, mind you. This is how sensitive things can be in the landscape we trade on a daily basis, of which we obviously have to adhere to. But we have our own platform, of which we can continue on. And I can go completely unbridled. Because the lunacy of what has happened over the last 24 hours is indescribable. So if you haven't gone to restrictedrepublic.com, get there right now. Join us. There's monthly, there's annual memberships. You get 14 days to check it out for free. You don't like it, you have a dashboard to cancel anytime. We don't hold people hostage. I don't need to. Our facts keep you there. And I'd love you to join the family today. Until next time. And if you're at Restricted Republic, by the way, just kick forward to the next video. I left the right side of the tab the same, so you know it's the continuation, although I changed the background to one of my favorite photos that I've come up with recently. Well, I didn't. Because AI did. By simply asking it one question. Show me what Congress looks like. And that's what it came up with. Do you know when I asked it, show me the word liar? It put up a picture of President Trump. Beware what this could do. Scary, isn't it? Who's that right in the center? Love to see it in the comments below. And also, who's right? Elon Musk or President Trump? I can't wait to see your opinions. Blow up the comment stream. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.